Let's just get into it. And this is a couple of ABC clips. Now I'm going to show you the highlights. Sorry, highlights, speech marks around them. And then I want to show you, I think I've got 3 specific clips from it. And I think looking at the 2 closing statements summarizes the whole thing perfectly. And not necessarily because of what they said, but maybe because of what one particular individual didn't say. So here's about a 4-minute package of some of the highs and lows that happened in the debate this afternoon.
Kamala Harris.
Tonight,
even that was strong. She introduced herself.
That was brilliant.
We've never met.
She waited in the middle. She waited in the middle where he's supposed to come to.
She went all the way to him, and so she took the space. Great, perfect. What a great way to start.
Historic face-off. Vice President Kamala Harris and former President Donald Trump going head-to-head in their first and what will likely be their only debate.
Yeah, I don't know about that. Because, okay, so now I'll take a little step back and I say, I don't think this will shift the needle, but if it will help someone, it'll help Harris. Right? If it does help, it's not going to help Trump. If it does help, it'll help Harris. And if it helps Harris, then Trump will have to do another one. So I'm not so sure about this will be the one and only. We'll wait and see.
Before Election Day.
If she becomes president, this country doesn't have a chance of success. She has no policy. Everything that she believed 3 years ago and 4 years ago is out the window.
I'm going to actually do something really unusual, and I'm going to invite you to attend one of Donald Trump's rallies.
Strong,
what you will also notice is that people start leaving his rallies early out of exhaustion.
His ratings.
And I will tell you, the one thing you will not hear him talk about is you.
Trump.
Great line.
She's been so bad. It's so ridiculous.
Trump in his 7th presidential debate. Harris, her first.
I have talked with military leaders, some of whom worked with you.
Great lines.
And they say you're a disgrace.
Yeah, great.
The candidates clashing.
Great. And he never really came back from that. He never really disputed it because he can't, because they'll say it on CNN tomorrow.
Major issues like the economy.
Let's talk about what Donald Trump left us. Donald Trump left us the worst unemployment since the Great Depression. And
this is something that didn't come up so much in there, because what Trump's been doing is what every political party does. What Trump does is he wants to blame something like unemployment. He'll blame COVID. But if he wants to take, what's the opposite of blame someone? Well, credit. When we take credit for something like, for example, the price of petrol, which dropped because no one was driving anywhere because of COVID, he won't. So he uses COVID to blame himself for the bad numbers, like to blame, oh, yeah, unemployment was bad, thanks COVID. But look what I did with petrol prices. No one was crossing the border. Yeah, because even the people from South America were kind of locked up. So for the things that he wants to amplify now, he uses COVID for good. For the things he wants to minimize, he uses COVID for bad. And this is a good example of it. This never came up, and I'm surprised it didn't, because if he had have come back saying it was because of COVID, the unemployment numbers are worse than they were pre-COVID. So that's how they measure it. And there are now more people working, and the numbers are better than they were pre-COVID. So this is the I heard someone say the other day, I think since the last 50 years or something like that, there's been 51 million jobs created in America. 50 million of them under Democratic presidents, 1 million under Republicans. So, you can just see this narrative of the right knowing business. It's not the case. We'll keep going.
What we have done is clean up Donald Trump's mess. I am actually the only person on this stage who has a plan that is about lifting up the middle class and working people of America.
I had no inflation, virtually no inflation.
COVID.
They had the highest inflation perhaps in the history of our country, because I've never seen a worse period of time. People can't go out and buy cereal or bacon or eggs or anything.
Why did Lucinda do that?
Yeah, why? Do people actually? This is the big interesting question to a Trump sycophant. Did they actually believe that people can't go out and buy bacon and cereal? Like, is every single Trump supporter where they used to have a shelf full of cereal like Seinfeld, now they've got nothing because we can't afford our cornflakes anymore? Like, when a sycophant hears that, what do they think? I'm just shocked by it, eh? All right, here we go.
The people of our country are absolutely dying with what they've done. They've destroyed the economy.
Abortion.
And I pledge to you,
strong.
When Congress passes a bill to put back in place the protections of Roe v. Wade, as President of the United States, I will proudly sign it into law. But understand, if Donald Trump were to be reelected, he will sign a national abortion ban.
Well, there she goes again. It's a lie. I'm not signing a ban. Now, I believe in the exceptions for rape, incest, and life of the mother.
Interesting to see what the pro-life campaign say about that, because when he said he'd be positive for women's health, they lost their shit. Interesting tomorrow to see what they say about that line.
She said she'll go back to Congress. She'll never get the vote. It's impossible for her to get the vote.
And immigration.
I'm the only person on this stage who has prosecuted transnational criminal organizations for the trafficking of guns, drugs, and human beings.
They've destroyed the fabric of our country. Millions of people let in, and all over the world.
And note as well, and you'll see this in the summaries, their closing statements, what we're hearing from Trump is everything that's wrong, in his opinion. And what we're hearing from Harris is what she's going to do. That was the theme of the night. Like we've said, in New Zealand, the left tends to make policy, make law. The right tends to respond to the left's policy and law. And you kind of saw it in this, where his whole time was spent saying, them bad, them did this, look out because they will do this. And she spent most of the time saying, I will do this. I will do this. By the way, he did this. I will do this. I will do this. By the way, he will do this. It was his only form of talking was talking about, you know, I was going to say Labor bad, it gets into my head, Democrats bad, basically.
Crime is down all over the world except here. Crime here is up and through the roof.
True.
Harris mentioning Trump's legal woes, including 4 felony indictments and 1 conviction.
I think this is so rich, coming from someone who has been prosecuted for national security crimes, economic crimes, election interference, has been found liable for sexual assault, and his
should have gone harder on that. Should have gone harder. This is where I'm saying that killer blow didn't come. She could have gone so much harder. He's an adjudicated rapist, right? Adjudicated means in a courtroom, not convicted in a criminal court, but he's an adjudicated sexual offender, a sexual predator. Could have gone harder on that.
His next big court appearance is in November at his own criminal sentencing.
Trump doubling down on his lies that he won the 2020 election.
Are you now acknowledging that you lost in 2020?
No, I don't acknowledge that at all.
But
I
you
said
did
that
say
sarcastically.
That.
You know that. It was said, oh, we lost by a whisker. That was said sarcastically.
Donald Trump was fired by 81 million people. So let's be clear about that. And clearly he is having a very difficult time processing that.
Their differences stark, making their pitches in a race that poll after poll show is neck and neck.
The president of the United States is commander-in-chief, and the American people have a right to rely on a president who understands the significance of America's role and responsibility in terms of ensuring that there is stability and ensuring we stand up for our principles and not sell them for the benefit of personal flattery.
I probably took a bullet to the head because of the things that they say about me. They talk about democracy. I'm a threat to democracy. They're the threat to democracy. With the fake Russia.
I think I put out a tweet today that said something like, I wonder who in their prep the Republicans decided to go with a I'm rubber and you are glue defense for his debate thing today, because they haven't like, oh, not me, them. I literally said that we're not it, you are, we aren't, you are, and my dad's bigger and stronger than your dad, you are. So Chewy, I don't know, I watched it all live. There's a few quote unquote highlights for you before we go into a couple more clips. Any thoughts?
I do want to comment on him going, oh, I probably took a bullet to the head.
Yeah.
Just something I saw this morning, that the FBI had a stand up saying that Trump's not cooperating with their investigation into that shooting. But it was more about who the FBI put up for that stand up. They put up an agent that has been shot in the ear,
right?
Missing a big chunk of his ear, which I just that can't be accidental. That is very, very funny to me. I think I saw one person that's up there presidential.
100% agree.
And then the representative for everybody that wants everything to burn, everything to the ground.
Yeah.
It does not matter as long as the people I don't like get punished.
Yeah. Yeah. The unpresidential candidate, there's people texting saying, you know, CNN said 33 lies. He told far more lies. Honestly, the very first thing he said, I went, not true, not true, not true, not true. Like they're like 5 in his first opening stanza. And I think that maybe there was 33 big ones or really easy ones, but even what we're listening to here, we probably heard 10 or 15. So there's far more than 33. If you took it to the letter of the law and went to untruths that he said. I do have some of those around, I think, here. Actually, should I have a look? Oh, here we go. Let's have a look at a couple of them. This is from The Guardian. Fact-checking Trump's debate claims. Crime in the US is up. Though the data is preliminary, it includes numbers from 80% of the law enforcement agencies saying it was down. Violent crime is down overall. Abortion falsehoods. The facts: fewer than 1% of abortions are performed past 21 weeks. Trump also suggested at multiple points abortions take place after birth. This would be infanticide, and it's illegal in all 50 states. Trump denies involvement in Project 2025. The facts, though, Trump has tried repeatedly to distance himself from the platform, which seeks to strip away reproductive rights and LGBT rights and voting rights. His policies heavily align with Project 2025. We haven't talked about Tenant Media this week. I'm sure you've all heard about Tenant Media, the Russian guys who have been infiltrating the right-wing media. Tim Pool's been mentioned. Dave Rubin, who I've interviewed, has been mentioned. Lauren Southern's been mentioned. This is what they do, right? They don't necessarily go, here's some money. Could you say this for us? It's the same as when Fox News says, we never tell our hosts to say anything. It's they employ hosts who they know are going to say something. So they get money through to people like Tim Pool because they know what he's going to say and they want it amplified. So that's how they do it, and still are able to, the hosts are able to, wipe their hands saying, I have no idea. No one's told me what to say. Sort of the same thing around Project 2025. Trump makes false claims about immigration. Trump claims immigrants are eating pets in Ohio. We'll actually play some video for you shortly. Trump repeats 2020 election misinformation. Trump and Harris argue over best or worst economy. Trump boasted that the US experienced the best economy under his administration, while Harris noted that he left the US with the worst unemployment since the Great Depression. They're both wrong. Trump by a lot, Harris by a shade. So it's a pretty fair fact check. Yeah. Anyway, let's go and have a look at the much talked about dog eating, cat eating. I mean, like, again, if you're a Trump sycophant, mind you, I've had someone in my Twitter feed today say that this is real. Like, I've had someone say, because it's real.
So I've noticed a bunch of this, like people talking about apartment buildings being taken over by Venezuelans, people eating pets, this is Fox News. This is Truth Social come to life. Remember when they used to say that there were no-go areas in Manchester and London, stuff like that? It's the same thing, but now it's happening there.
Yeah.
And this is, again, playing to the base. Now, he's trying to convince people that don't need convincing.
Here we go. They're eating dog.
This is like people saying that there's litter boxes for high school people that identify as cats. It's like there's no fucking evidence. Everybody's seen something. Nobody can produce it.
It's the same as any kind of urban myth. You always know, because it's like, I know someone who knows someone. So this is what I tweeted out, in quote, they're eating the dogs, end quote. This is an SNL skit, eh? And
SNL's back in a couple of weeks. It absolutely will be.
And someone said to me, here, it's a fact, you sleazy lying prick. Someone called Kia 101. And then someone responded to them like that. Nope. It looks like bullshit from this angle too. So yeah, but I was surprised, there's people in there doing it. Okay, well, let's have a look at it. Let's have a look what he actually had to say. Yeah, this might be Trump's version of Sarah Palin's I can see Russia from my porch. Maybe this will be his version of it for this run up to the election.
What they have done to our country by allowing these millions and millions of people to come into our country, and look at what's happening to the towns all over the United States. And a lot of towns don't want to talk. It's not going to be Aurora or Springfield. A lot of towns don't want to talk about it because they're so embarrassed by it. In Springfield, they're eating the dogs, the people that came in.
Dogs.
Her reaction, perfect. I'm more laughing at him. Like, he's a narcissist, if not legitimately, certainly technically. And the worst thing you can do for him is to basically mock him and treat him like he's small. Oh, big boy pants, have you got your big boy pants on? And her laughing like this is exactly that.
The people that came in, they're eating the cats. They're eating They're eating the pets of the people that live there. And this is what's happening in our country. And it's a shame. As far as rallies are concerned, as far as the reason they go is they like what I say. They want to bring our country back. They want to make America great again. It's a very simple phrase, make America great again. She's destroying this country. And if she becomes president, this country doesn't have a chance of success. Not only success, will end up being Venezuela on steroids.
I just want to clarify here. You bring up Springfield, Ohio, and ABC News did reach out to the city manager there. He told us there had been no credible reports of specific claims of pets being harmed, injured, or abused by individuals within the immigrant community.
Well, I've seen people on television.
Let me just say here, this is the
people on television.
I wonder if he's ever seen on television when they fill a pelican's beak with concrete to make, and then like if you've seen that on television, I wonder if he thinks that's how they make concrete or wash their dishes when they fill a pelican's beak with all the dishes to do it, get it washed. Or they have like a elephant's trunk to have their shower. He's probably seen that on television too. I wonder if that's how he thinks. Maybe that's his whole thing about toilets as well. He's been watching the Flintstones and he thinks that's real life. That could possibly be it. Possibly.
My dog.
How do you follow a statement like that?
Yeah. Well, let's listen to what the moderator said.
Say my dog was taken and used for food. So maybe he said that, and maybe that's a good thing to say for a city manager.
I'm not taking this from television.
But the people on television saying their dog was eaten by the people that went there.
By immigrants. I've got two more clips to play through, which are they're both their clothing statements. But you know, have at it, my friend. They're eating the dogs, they're eating the cats.
How do you follow that? Like as a serious, like this is someone that is running for office, the most powerful, most heavily armed, most wealthy country in the world.
Yeah.
And he's repeating something that he's seen on Truth Social or a fucking meme, some racist meme, as if it's true because he saw the lady on the TV said that they're taking the pets for, like, how did Kamala just not go, like, go full office, just look down the camera and go, are you hearing this shit?
Well, she kind of did. She was like, what's going on? You know, that's where, like, another moment would have been great to have the mics on. I think they should have their mics on. I hope they do another one.
This isn't even the most crazy thing he said. Like any other presidential debate in history, that would have been the craziest thing ever said.
Yeah.
And we know that there's more coming that is even more crazy. What the fuck is going on, America?
Let's get to these last two clips, because I actually think if you've seen nothing else from the debate, their two closing statements will paint a perfect picture of the whole debate, where Kamala talks about her policies and what she's going to do, and Trump talks about Kamala's policies and what she's going to do. It's actually a perfect sort of synopsis of what the whole thing was. So they're only 2 minutes each. Here's, I think this is Kamala. Let me check. Yep, Harris. So this is Kamala's closing statement.
So I think you've heard tonight two very different visions for our country. One that is focused on the future, and the other that is focused on the past, and an attempt to take us backward. But we're not going back. And I do believe that the American people know we all have so much more in common than what separates us. And we can chart a new way forward. And a vision of that includes having a plan, understanding the aspirations, the dreams, the hopes, the ambition of the American people, which is why I intend to create an opportunity economy, investing in small businesses, in new families, in what we can do around protecting seniors, what we can do that is about giving hardworking folks a break and bringing down the cost of living. I believe in what we can do together that is about sustaining America's standing in the world and ensuring that we have the respect that we so rightly deserve, including respecting our military and ensuring we have the most lethal fighting force in the world. I will be a president that will protect our fundamental rights and freedoms, including the right of a woman to make decisions about her own body and not have her government tell her what to do. I'll tell you, I started my career as a prosecutor. I was a DA, I was an attorney general, a United States senator, and now vice president. I've only had one client, the people. And I'll tell you, as a prosecutor, I never asked a victim or a witness, are you a Republican or a Democrat? The only thing I ever asked them, are you okay? And that's the kind of president we need right now. Someone who cares about you and is not putting themselves first. I intend to be a president for all Americans and focus on what we can do over the next 10 and 20 years to build back up our country by investing right now in you, the American people.
Now, I mean, being fair, it was a little bit vision boardy, you know, like, oh, let's do all that. But in that thing, I wrote them down, she was saying that she talked about, even though she gave no detail, she talked about helping small business, helping families, helping seniors. She talked about the hardworking folks. She talked about America's standing in the world. She talked about getting respect back. She talked about protecting rights and freedoms. So it was vision boardy, you know, because it wasn't like this is the policy and this is how it's going to work. It was more, is it macro up the top? Well, macro is closer, isn't it? Anyway, it's a big picture kind of thing. It's a vision board kind of thing. But she was talking about her vision, what she was going to do, right? Would that be fair, Chewy? That's what you heard? Okay, so now Trump has the ability for 2 minutes to sell his vision to the nation, and pretty much all he does is talk about Kamala Harris. So she's just talked about herself and her vision, and Trump's closing statement is talking about her as well. It's a perfect snapshot, these ways that they've been communicating, of the whole debate.
So she just started by saying she's going to do this, she's going to do that, she's going to do all these wonderful things. Why hasn't she done it? She's been there for 3.5 years. They've had 3.5 years to fix the border. They've had 3.5 years to create jobs and all the things we talked about. Why hasn't she done it? She should leave right now, go down to that beautiful White House, go to the Capitol, get everyone together and do the things you want to do, but you haven't done it and you won't do it because you believe in things that the American people don't believe in. You believe in things like, we're not going to frack. We're not going to take fossil fuel. We're not going to do things that are going to make this country strong, whether you like it or not. Germany tried that, and within 1 year, they were back to building normal energy plants. We're not ready for it. We can't sacrifice our country for the sake of bad vision. But I just ask one simple question. Why didn't she do it? We're a failing nation. We're a nation that's in serious decline. We're being laughed at all over the world. All over the world, they're laughed. I know the leaders very well. They're coming to see me. They call me. We're laughed at all over the world. They don't understand what happened to us as a nation. We're not a leader. We don't have any idea what's going on. We have wars going on in the Middle East. We have wars going on with Russia and Ukraine. We're going to end up in a third world war, and it'll be a war like no other because of nuclear weapons, the power of weaponry. I rebuilt our entire military. She gave a lot of it away to the Taliban. She gave it to Afghanistan. What these people have done to our country, and maybe toughest of all, is allowing millions of people to come into our country. Many of them are criminals, and they're destroying our country. The worst president, the worst vice president in the history of our country.
Now, I would challenge you to find a single sentence there that was talking about how Donald Trump would be the president. Just remember as well, he said she didn't fix the border. Well, they did. They had an opportunity to do that, and Donald Trump told his Republican counterparts not to vote for it, and so they didn't, so they killed it. It was quite a conservative bill too. He says they haven't fixed the jobs. They've had record employment. So that's been done. All he did was whinge and then badmouth the US and then talk about Kamala. And finally, one thing I do agree with, he says we're being laughed at all over the world. I don't think he realizes that they are being laughed at all over the world, but it's because of people like Donald Trump being a hair's breadth away from the Oval Office. That's why they're laughing, not for any other reason. But there you go, Chewy. There's the two closing statements. Happy to have a crack.
Oh, there's so much. It's like trying to pull a thread out of a diarrhea toilet bowl. Yeah, my imagery is on point. I love the fact that he's talking about she's had 3 years to do something. She wasn't the president. She's the vice president. A very ceremonial role for the most part, just in case Joe Biden falls off his bike again.
Yeah.
So I almost think that that's something that's just has been in the notes the whole time. it's brave of him to bring up the Taliban.
Yeah, so he tried to invite them to Camp David.
He invited them to Camp David. And the whole thing with Afghanistan, Donald Trump made the deal of the century to get the US to withdraw from Afghanistan.
Yeah.
He did it on such a tight timeline, knowing that if he lost the election, his successor would have to deal with the fallout. And that's why it was such a fucking shit show. And he has been parading around in Arlington Cemetery at the grave of a soldier that died in that withdrawal, trying to make political points out of that, of something that he set in motion and people died, so he had something to beat up Biden over.
But this is also this is also an issue from within the media, because him and his surrogates have been saying no one died under my watch. 69 people died in Afghanistan while he was 69 Americans died in Afghanistan while he was the president. 13 died under Joe Biden, which was the 13 you're talking about. But they've just let that go. They just let it go. Off it goes. The 69 who died while Trump was president, no one's talking about it. Now, Chewy, there are about 6 million super chats in here. So let's go through. I said the croissant. You guys are funny. Let's go through and check out some of these super chats. Campbell, thank you for the super chat. Look, thank everybody for the super chat. I won't say that 17 times. Slam, whack, pow, I surrender is all I heard when Kamala slayed the dog. Yeah. Weka Digital Media says, enjoyed the show last night. Kia ora koutua. Thank you. Appreciate that. Brent says, she won, but was not forceful enough in calling him out till the end. Still voting Kamala for the win. Yeah, it's interesting. The polls are starting to soften a bit on Kamala. She's had a pretty free run of it for the last wee while, and it doesn't look as. It looked like when he got his ear nicked, it looked like it was his to lose, right? I've said before, it's like the soccer goal was open, the ball was 6 feet in front of the goal, there was no goalie, all he had to do was tap it in to win, and for some reason he kicked it into the stand. So he asked that up. And then for the last kind of few weeks, it looks like it's been Kamala's to lose. And now it feels like it's back to a 50-50 game. So it's going to be tight. It is going to be tight, and it could go either way.